There's a button in almost every modern car that most drivers either press out of pure curiosity or never touch at all. It's usually near the gear shifter, sometimes on the steering wheel, and it's labeled one simple word: sport. Some people swear by it. Others think it's a gimmick stuck on family sedans to make them feel exciting. But here's what almost nobody tells you. When you press that button, your car quietly changes at least 4 different systems simultaneously, and the way it changes them depends entirely on what kind of car you're driving. So, what is actually happening the moment you press it? Before we get into what sport mode does, it helps to understand what it's working against, because modern cars are not designed to be driven the way drivers actually want to drive them. They're designed to be efficient, smooth, and easy for the widest possible range of drivers. That means the throttle is deliberately softened so you don't lurch forward when you tap the gas. The transmission shifts up early to keep the engine at low revs, where it uses less fuel. The steering is light, so parking doesn't feel like a workout. Everything is tuned for maximum comfort and minimum fuel consumption. Sport mode is essentially a switch that tells the car's computer to stop prioritizing those things and start prioritizing how the car feels and responds instead. And it does that by making changes across multiple systems at the exact same moment you press the button. The first and most immediately noticeable change is throttle response. In standard or eco modes, there's a deliberate lag built into how the car responds when you press the accelerator. You push the pedal down an inch, and the engine takes a moment before it delivers power. A soft, gradual response designed to feel smooth and to save fuel by preventing unnecessary bursts of acceleration. Sport mode remaps this relationship between your foot and the engine completely. The same inch of pedal travel now triggers a much more aggressive power delivery. The engine responds almost instantly, and it feels dramatically faster, even though the car's actual horsepower hasn't changed by a single number. You're not getting more power, you're getting access to the power you already had, far more quickly. It's the difference between turning a tap slowly versus throwing it fully open. The water supply is the same, but the flow rate changes instantly. This is why sport mode feels so dramatic the first time you try it, even in a completely ordinary family car. The engine isn't stronger, it's just stopped being polite about delivering what it already had. The second major change happens inside the transmission, and this one affects how the car feels during every single second of driving, not just when you first press the gas. In normal mode, automatic transmissions are programmed to shift up to higher gears as early as possible. The goal is to get the engine spinning at low RPMs quickly, because low RPMs mean less fuel burn. It's efficient, but it also means the engine is almost never in its power band, the RPM range, where it produces the most torque and acceleration. Sport mode changes the shift logic entirely. The transmission holds each gear longer, allowing the engine to climb higher up the rev range before it shifts up. When you're decelerating, downshifts happen more aggressively and earlier, so the car is always ready to accelerate again without hesitation. In performance-tuned dual-clutch transmissions, sport mode also speeds up the actual physical shift time. Instead of a smooth, barely noticeable gear change, you get a sharper, more mechanical shift that you can actually feel. The result is that the car always feels like it's ready. There's no waiting for the transmission to figure out what gear you need. It's already there. Engine spinning in the right range, waiting for your foot. The third system sport mode adjusts is steering, and this one is the most underappreciated change of the 3. Most modern cars use electric power steering, which means the amount of assistance the system provides is controlled entirely by software, not by mechanical components. In normal mode, the steering is set up to be as light as possible, easy to turn with minimal effort, ideal for parking lots and city traffic. In sport mode, the system reduces that assistance. The steering becomes noticeably heavier and requires more effort to turn. For drivers who haven't experienced this before, it can feel strange at first, but the reason behind it is real. Heavier steering provides more road feedback. You can feel subtle changes in grip, small imperfections in the road surface, and how the tires are responding to what you're asking them to do. At higher speeds and on winding roads, that feedback makes you feel dramatically more connected to what the car is actually doing, which makes you a more confident and more precise driver in those conditions. In higher-end vehicles with electronically adaptive suspension, sport mode adds a 4th layer of change, stiffening the dampers. In everyday driving, suspension is tuned to absorb as much road imperfection as possible, isolating the passenger cabin from bumps and keeping the ride smooth. Sport mode firms everything up, reducing the amount the car's body rolls when cornering and making the whole vehicle feel more planted and stable at speed. The trade-off is ride comfort. A stiffer suspension on a rough road is noticeably harsher. You feel more of what's happening beneath you, which is exactly why it's a button you can switch on and off, rather than the factory default. Some cars also change their exhaust note in sport mode, either by opening exhaust valves to let more sound through, or in some cases by playing enhanced engine sounds through the speakers. The dashboard may shift from calm blue lighting to a more aggressive red. The tachometer becomes more prominent. These are deliberate psychological cues. The car is signaling to you that you're now in a different mode, which influences how you drive it. So when should you actually use sport mode? It earns its place on winding roads, where the sharper steering and firmer suspension help you place the car precisely. It's genuinely useful for motorway merges, where the snappier throttle and readier downshifts let you slot into fast-moving traffic more confidently, and it makes overtaking noticeably easier. Instead of the car hesitating before committing to passing, it responds immediately. What it's not ideal for is bumper-to-bumper traffic, where the jumpy throttle response makes smooth, low-speed driving harder, not easier. Or long motorway cruises, where holding higher RPMs burns noticeably more fuel without giving you anything back. Sport mode is a tool for specific situations. Using it all the time is like wearing running shoes to wade through mud. Technically possible, but working against the design. Here's something worth knowing. Sport mode doesn't work the same way in every car. In a basic economy sedan, pressing sport might only change the throttle mapping and hold gears slightly longer, a modest but real difference. In a high-performance vehicle, the exact same button press triggers changes across throttle, transmission, steering, suspension, exhaust, dashboard display, and sometimes even stability control thresholds simultaneously. Same label, completely different depth of change underneath, which is why someone who tried sport mode in a small hatchback and found it underwhelming might be genuinely surprised by what happens when they press the same button in a performance-tuned machine. Sport mode isn't a gimmick, and it isn't magic. It's a carefully designed profile that trades fuel efficiency and comfort for responsiveness and driver engagement, and it does that by quietly adjusting multiple systems the moment you press it. Throttle, transmission, steering, suspension, sound, all shifting together to change how the car feels without changing what's under the bonnet. Next time you see that button, you'll know exactly what's happening when you press it. Hit subscribe. This is FactorFume, and there's a lot more of this coming.